Do you miss DVD commentary tracks? Well, fear not, because I'm Fred, most scorned critic in all of YouTube. I'm here to give you commentary tracks for the movies streaming, the movies we love, and sometimes those we love to hate. Tonight, I've got one that has quite the mixed reception, but I think I favor it more than most from 2024. It's Alien Romulus. But before we get started, I want to give a quick mention to my buddies over at emmyeats.com. Their high-protein, high-fiber ramen noodles will fill you up. Use my promo code FRY to save $5 on your first order. All right, I've got my IBC Ruby here. Let's open that with some ASMR. Oh yeah, you know it's fresh. And I have my popcorn. I know I'm not supposed to be having popcorn when I'm doing these, but I don't like the sound of it. I have an Alien Romulus Facehugger 10 from AMC, guys. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a thing. I'm sorry. We're queued up on Hulu with Alien Romulus, watching in 4K with HDR. And if you want to follow along, go ahead and go to 0000 and hit play now. Kind of nice that we jump into this with the 20th Century Studios logo, the fanfare. Why couldn't they have put the fox there? Why couldn't they have given us the classic fox look, you know, like from the original Alien? You want to make it look like it kind of took place in the 70s future, right? But instead you do almost a Matrix-like effect, the way the Matrix affected the Warner Brothers logo. I'm not really sure how loud I need to crank this. I haven't watched this on my TV speakers. I have checked out the film briefly in on Hulu and thought, you know what, this not bad. Came to Hulu before the physical release. That's kind of undercuts things. Fede Álvarez. Everybody's going to say director of the Evil Dead reboot. Okay, they're going to say that. Let's be completely real with ourselves here. This is... Oh, what was it? Man, it was on the tip of my tongue. Don't Breathe. Yeah, this is Don't Breathe in space. We have actual practical ships. Pretty cool. You could spot that this was a practical effect. Like, you're seeing like miniature in there. You can see that that's miniature, and that is charming, endearing, and it also may not take you out of the film the way realizing that it was CGI the whole time would. There's also a case to be made that because the original films, even into Alien Resurrection, had ships that were actual miniature, when it was just getting to be in vogue to have spaceships needed to be CGI going forward. I'm thinking the last movie that had miniature ships might had been another H.R. Giger. That's how you pronounce it, by the way, YouTubers. Giger design film. Gosh, what's the one where she has to bang everybody? Forget the name of it. Not a good Species. Not a great movie, but or Species 2, that is, had... Now, I had to watch this. This is like my third viewing of some of this because I was just so confused as to what exactly happened here. We see in the middle of the film the xenomorph... Oh, I really like that... mist that shoots out, you know, because you had like a water effect with the thrusters in the first film, and you never really saw that again, but I think that's cool. In the middle of the film, the xenomorph, as a chest burster, cocoons against the wall, and then that gives interesting insight into some element of the character species that we have not seen before. You always have to add something, I feel like, to justify your sequel. As I've said, the worst franchise when it comes to sequels is really Friday the 13th. You can totally forget which one you're watching. It's just we have to serve up young people for Jason to kill. That's really what it's about. It doesn't advance anything. In fact, it raises more questions as it retcons itself. We see that the cocoon is a possibility. Now we think, you know what? It wasn't hiding in an asteroid. Like, that's kind of like maybe your first assumption here. It has created a cocoon, and that allows it to pass through space. Would that mean a couple things here? Say the queen alien, if given the time, could cocoon, crash land like a meteorite, get opened up. Because this isn't simply it's cocooned and dead. It's cocooned, comes alive, kills up the space station. I think this film also owes a great deal of debt to Alien Isolation. One of my favorite games from the previous gen. And a big consideration for why I picked up an Xbox One to play that game. I'd posted on online that me waiting till midnight. I went into, there was a Monday Night Football game. I took the trash out because it gets picked up, and I go out to GameStop, and it was one of those, you know, the halcyon days of midnight releases, and I was like the only guy there picking up Alien Isolation. Everybody else was getting, I think it might have been a Pokemon game. I came home and did my first ever Twitch stream. And I made sure that I only played that game at night with the lights off. I tried to create that ambiance. Kaylee Spaney, I'm largely not aware of her. She's one of these gals who got opportunities for playing a naked body in like a streaming series in England or elsewhere or whatever. I think there was a Kate Winslet show. That's how, I mention this because that's how Daisy Ridley blew up. She looks like she's 12. Not crazy about her in this film. The drinking bird, are you calling that a nice touch, or is it a bit on the nose? Because it's an element that we saw in the original film, so therefore everybody must like drinking birds. Let's put them everywhere, right? I feel like they went overboard with the drinking birds in Alien Isolation. Worth noting, this film really takes place about the time of Alien Isolation. Darn close to it. And the save station terminal from Alien Isolation does make an appearance aboard the space station. I'm trying to remember exactly what the name of the station is, because it's not really Romulus. Romulus is, it's like two labs, essentially. Romulus and Remus, but I think they have a more specific name. I do have the subtitles on. Honestly, we might even have to recommend going with the subtitles on your first viewing. Because aside from these two characters, everybody else very hard to understand. It would also be nice to get some frame of reference with the names being called out. We don't really know what the deal is with this guy just yet, but we're about to find out. Andy. By the way, the standout character and performance of the film. This feels like a prison sentence, right? Like, oh, we'll have these workers and we'll just simply deny their ability to leave work until we say so, and we'll always come up with some kind of reason to keep them here. But hey, that's advancement, and that, if there's something being said here about the evils of the corporate world with the Alien films, monopolization. In Alien Isolation, it's mentioned that the Seegson company is basically going out of business. Their station got bought. I think they might have even been bought up or hostile taken over by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. We could see that their androids were not good, that they were behind in tech, they lost the battle. And then it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me this is a Weyland-Yutani place this whole time. It's like, oh, we're being lied to by the company. But hey, they don't owe you the truth. At the start of the film here, they're saying nothing's more important than the well-being of our, I was about to say customers, slaves, customers, employees, whatever you want to call it. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, they beat him up because he's black. How they identified that he was a android, I'm so quick, I don't know. Might be a fairly ubiquitous model. You could see that close-up shot there with his ear, that apparatus there, that was done practical. Alec Gillis, contact of mine, he gave me some, a little bit of advice on stuff to acquire for this grant that I was kind of helping with Disney. My mom, children's librarian, got a grant from Disney to get some like filmmaking equipment for the kids. And Alec Gillis had put together an all practical effects film starring Lance Henriksen. And so I kind of picked his brain on some gear, affordable wise. So I think he's essentially like the effects supervisor in some capacity here. Maybe didn't, necessarily make all the models and stuff, but had joined the franchise at Aliens and did the Alien vs. Predator stuff as well, but did not do Alien Covenant. Oh, it's Mushmouth. There's something in the water. I'd be like, can we recast this guy? Would that be in the cards? Isabel Moner, Merced, as she likes to be called now. Or is it Monier or something? But maybe she didn't like the way that was being pronounced or spelled or whatever. Possibly the biggest name in the cast. Almost in a way in which we do the original Alien film. With maybe Tom Skerritt maybe being the biggest name at the time of release. So you think, oh, well, they'll stick around. Well, I mean, a little different here where we're getting a clear setup as to who the protagonist is. Why you ship drifting? Like that guy over there. Of course, we can travel the stars, but we have basically like something of a vectoric system. It takes 9 years to get to Yavaga. I look 12. Maybe I'll look like an adult when we get there. We got to steal that highly regulated equipment before someone else does. All right, now am I wrong here, or is Navarro the Asian that's bald, right? So we need someone that can pilot it. So you're kind of stuck on the planet because you can't travel to other planets. You can't get far enough with the cryo. So they regulate the cryo. Otherwise, you're allowed to roam around and, take mining ships wherever you want in the vicinity because they know you can't get away. I found the trash. Did they have to name her Rain? Really? I think the Andy character is so amazing. In the franchise, this is one of the best characters in the franchise. Like, he goes toe to toe because he actually gets the development, right? Like, you can put him in there, slot him above Hicks, okay? Because you see what it's like for a cast aside old model android. and how he was programmed with the dad jokes, which he has plenty of. You know, dad's dying or won't be here forever. Andy, you gotta take care of her. Here's some of my jokes. But instead, it turns out Rain kind of takes care of him, like he's special needs android. It's really quite compelling. And then he also gets reprogrammed, and then you have to determine, is that really an upgrade? Can he be trusted? Now, I use an air popper for my popcorn, and it makes I think a 1 cup batch, and there's no way to make any less or more in a given batch. And it's just a few, it's like 10 kernels too much for this container. You'll end up spilling a little bit. We got to have all those old buttons, right? Wouldn't look right if we said, hey, everything has a transparent float hologram screen, or put on your VR goggles. I know it's dirty and very industrial, but I prefer this look for a spaceship than a lot of the garbage we end up with, like, Prometheus in there. Prometheus, which takes place well before this, right? Oh, but that was an advanced, cutting edge ship, and rich people flew that. Okay, whatever. We're doing the reverse of the drop in Aliens, aren't we? I'm glad Andy made it through the film. And ultimately had, this kind of like heel turn, face turn, redeems himself, grows as a character. Everything works out. I think the visual effects in this were very effective. And on this budget, I'm trying to recall, but this is not like a $200 million Marvel budget. The cast kept it in check, not having big stars drawn, big payday. Hell, Kaylee Spaney here might have got like $1 million. Film actually performed better than I anticipated at the box office. I think grossed in the 300 millions. For this franchise, that's pretty good. Given the state of Hollywood now, things are either typically making no money whatsoever and losing it, or making $1 billion. Oh, it would be something if they got to this Ivaga, and it turned out it was kind of just a lie. Oh, it's not a simple ship, it's a space station. Outpost, space station, whatever. That's no moon. I wonder how much experience Navarro has at this, because, this is a young-looking cast, right? Gotta watch out for that asteroid belt. Asteroid belt. It's okay. We got 36 hours. Come on, guys. We're going to be out in 30 minutes. Now, that wouldn't make much of a movie if that was the case, right? Surely something has to go wrong. Man, poor guy can't really quite get through a whole simple sentence without the pause. Reminds you of how all your touchscreen interfaces get slower as they get updated, right? It's going to be really cold for everybody but Andy. I just really like this incredibly innocent look about him too. Kind of concerned, perpetually afraid. Going into the synthetics only area. Well, actually, it was just below because it's kind of like, hey, you won't be able to breathe. Now, let's think about this. Was there maybe some kind of intention to shared universe Blade Runner and Alien? Like, okay, Weyland-Yutani didn't create the synthetics, but they took over the Tyrell company at some point, or, you know, maybe that could have been the case. I'm telling you guys, think about this in terms of Don't Breathe. Young people who have it, they live in squalor, right? Like they're broken houses. They're breaking into something here to steal something they heard was there from a blind guy. Now, the facehuggers are definitely blind. The xenomorph may as well be blind. Though we do see a xenomorph POV of sorts in Alien 3. Got the CRT screens going, but I don't think that they give you a true... I think they may have the tubes there, but they put the screen on in post, is what I think they do. Now we're introduced to the artificial gravity malfunctioning second. Something that has never really been brought up in the franchise. These people, even in a dire situation, stick to the ground, right? Yeah, it might be a little easier to work if you could turn the gravity on, guys. We just go in, we grab the coolant, and then we get to go to Yivaga, right? I think the first film that gave us the floating 3D debris in the Zero G may have been Event Horizon. Now, I'm trying to recall here. They need the coolant, right? Or do they take the pods that also have the coolant? Or does their ship, the ships they were going to use, do they have pods? I'm trying to recall. And not that it matters. Man, something eerie about that, having to stick your finger in stuff. Mother. I had not seen Mother written like that until the Alien Fate of the Nostromo board game, which gives you a layout of the Nostromo. I played it a few times with my brother. He hates it. I think it's pretty neat. But you see Mother, it's written in a very kind of like computer type way. M-U-T-H-E-R. I think there's a slash in there somewhere. Oh no, 3.2 years. That's not 9. They got any more coolant anywhere, guys? I have not been commenting enough on music and films. I think this guy, his name's some fish. It's okay. I don't comment on it if it's doing okay. If it's real standout, comment on it. If it's particularly bad, comment on it. The score here, I mean, come on. Something in the water. We're aping the original film score. It's really the intent here, right? So how much more credit can we give somebody for, hey, can you just copy, what worked? And that's the way a lot of things go. Like the tutorial in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So you get to play the beginning of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, all right? I mean, it's kind of laid out there for you, right? Like we had a whole movie to storyboard it. Now we're going to give, it's Bjorn, by the way, something in the water. We're going to drop his, exposition dump backstory here. Synthetic sealed his parents in the mine when there's a disaster. So he doesn't trust the synths, the artificial person. I can totally understand that motivation. Nice little transfer sequence here. Catch it. Not something we'd seen done in the Alien films before, but I mean, in this one, we're seeing it twice now already. Just like open the bay and try to drive around what you're picking up. Uh-oh. Why is the skinny girl from Sicario 2 vomiting? Dora, you okay? Oh, yep. She's pregnant, all right. And then some people say, oh, well, that just telegraphs way too much what the intent is with her character. That her being pregnant, we're going to have to do something freaky to the baby. I mean, I suppose. I think for some, though, if she's pregnant, aren't we supposed to feel more pain for, whatever kind of torture she goes through? And it looked to me like she might have survived the film. Like, she was getting really close, you know, within minutes. Yeah, obviously you need to have seen the movie already if you're going to play my commentary here. Building better worlds. Not a bad slogan. And I mean, to come up with a slogan for a fictional corporation to be used in your film franchise, has anyone done better? More human than human. That's in that Tyrell. Romulus and Remus. All right, so we have like a lab, and then we have, what's the other side? Is it military or something? It's like we have a dichotomy to the outpost, but I feel like the alien Romulus name was attached after they shot the film. There on the left, we can see the save station where we save our progress. Been to a few of those in my day. I have completing Alien Isolation on the hardest difficulty, doing the speed run, no deaths, all this stuff, getting all the ID tags. I have to do what's best for Rain. And I have no feelings about being left behind. I'm trying to think here. Why did they need to leave Andy behind? Because being a synthetic, he doesn't need to go to the cryo chamber. David in Prometheus is out walking around the whole time. He doesn't get put down in a chamber and wait. I mean, for a synthetic, the passage of time is not something they get bored with. They don't have to eat anything. If anything, wouldn't you appreciate having essentially a watchdog that could command the ship? Something comes up, wake everybody up if needed. All right, we got our cattle prod. Very effective against Siegs and synthetics. Working Joes. And he thinks he's roughing him up. No, you're about to fall. Now we, the audience, know exactly what caused that. You see a gaping hole eaten through a floor in an alien film, you know. You can see the derogatory, oh, he's only a synthetic. I thought it was a real person. You're not real. You don't count. Right. We'll be getting back to that later. This film, very divisive reception. A lot of people thought it was terrible, and just as many people thought it was like the best alien film since maybe even Aliens. I am more inclined to side with the latter. I see problems with it. The screenplay at times doesn't. It does leave something to be desired, but I don't feel like it's necessarily just repeating a film we've seen before. If we get a few new things, yeah, but mostly I liked it. Now, if your finger freezes like that quick, is it gone? Uh-oh, there's about to be something in the water. Now, somehow, they extracted, DNA of the big chap, the OG big chap, and got the facehuggers from there, and then put them on ice. But big chap had other plans. Oh, yeah, we got the facehugger on the screen. Look how small Kaylee Spain is, man. You know that Asian girl, she can't be huge, right? So just these two walking here, it looks like the difference between Goose and Maverick. Now, does switching the module from Rook help ultimately, or does this cause more harm than good? As Rook goes, I kind of wanted to say more as he gets revived, put back online. I can understand why they went this route instead of making it Lance Henriksen, who as Bishop, the nomenclature with Rook, if we're gonna go with chess pieces, makes more sense because there is no Ash chess piece, right? But maybe they came up with the name change before they came up with the new model so much. And you'll get to recognizing him in the light. Now, is he one of those R2s who are a bit twitchy still? All right, swap the module out. Andy will be able to open the door. Looks like some pretty fragile equipment, right? Even compared to our mini SDs. All right, just stay still. Freeze, right? Uh-oh. Something is in the water. We've never seen the facehugger swim before. I think that it's acceptable. I was not under the impression that they wouldn't be able to swim. I mean, it'd be something if all of a sudden they flew, right? We're mixing up the practical with the CGI there, you know, and where we can in this movie, we're given the practical. And yet the people that are all about the practical effects still complain about this movie. I mean, it just seems weird that it's such a like fans for the fans love letter type production and still gets the scorn, right? Well, don't snap that tail off. You'll bleed all over the place. And I mean, Andy wouldn't know that yet. You know, he could have snapped it right there and bleed all over Bjorn. Movie crisis averted if this door shuts just a little bit faster. That door shuts, what, half a second quicker? Or even that door right there. Any of these doors shut a little bit quicker, no movie. I think it's a good looking face hugger. They may be it is certainly dark, right? Like the one on my my popcorn tin is maybe like 1/3 the size or it's not half. You almost feel like it could go around your head, but anyway, it's very much on the light side. Originally they were light. I don't have a problem with them being very dark like this either, really. Andy's been upgraded. He's getting through his sentences a lot better now. Well, let's bring this guy alive. I mean, come on, he can't really hurt us. He doesn't even have any legs. Okay, look. Ian Holm's family was totally on board with this. It's like, hey, paycheck, right? Character, the the deceased liked, you know, a role, film, whatever, honors his legacy, something like this, right? People are just really against this movie, and maybe just for the way this looks. Like, oh, we're bringing back a dead actor like this. Like, it's so ghoulish, right? But is that not the future going forward? Like, we're going to need a rom-com starring Julia Roberts when there's no Julia Roberts, or everyone says, oh, it looks so bad. I don't think that we linger on him talking enough for it to look noticeably off. It looks okay. You can see there's some computer effects about it, but the technique is improving. Intriguing look here at the big chap. So the OG big chap really gave our security forces a run for their money, right? You can see the skull under the dome. And no time prior in the movies do you actually see the skull having the human-like skeleton skull features with the cavities for the eyes and nose. I realize that it is not a completely opaque dome in the original film, and at times in Alien Isolation you could see through it in a way. You do get this sense that Rook here admires the perfect organism, right? So we, the audience, know we can't trust this guy because this is what the guy that the android we can't trust looks like. Like, it's giving us the hint. Worth noting on the shoes, I believe they brought back some Reeboks, alien stompers for this. I failed to get notified of the release, but there have been some interesting Reebok space type stuff lately. I think there was a Reebok NASA collab that is fitting of this kind of style, and you can afford and stuff. Kind of neat. If you want to dress kind of cyberpunk, that might be a one way to go about it. Oh, hey, just a little bit of coolant and it runs away to go get his buddies, right? I don't like how we play fast and loose with the rules for the gestation process for the chest burster. It's just kind of like, I was under the assumption a decent amount of time went by for Kane. And ever since, it has decreased. Now to the point where you have, 5 minutes until the thing comes out? I'm just not that upset about the Ian Holm almost deep fake, right? Bjorn, you're messing things up. You get that shot of Rook there going, yeah, we gotta, she's impregnated with the embryo. We gotta make sure that this spreads in some capacity. No, we're getting out of here. No, you're not. And of course, the fast-acting chest burster really throws a wrench into the plans. Yeah, there is a little bit of irrational young adult thinking here taking place. Well, we don't know if Andy will try to kill the Asian or not. He does what's best for Rain, but he has these like corporate initiatives now also, and of course also Bjorn would think the worst. Oh, them! I told you about these synthetics. You can't trust them, right? So we got to get her away from them. Dora, the explorer, has no idea what's happening. Oh, okay. We just discovered this mobile X-ray light, kind of a cool invention, so that we can have a new way of showing the chest burster pregnancy here. I would think if it's busted that much, it's already broken through much of the bone in your chest. It's not going to flex out like that without breaking. Serendipitous jaunt in the ship here. Just out of control, send the ship around perfectly, and yet it into the bay. Like couldn't have pulled this move off if you tried, right? And this will put things into motion that we have much less time to get off this outpost, because now we're really heading towards that asteroid belt. Chest burster looks good. Some debate on how the like hands on the chest burster should be represented. Sometimes it seems to have the front arms, and then sometimes not so much. I kind of think of the arms being there but underdeveloped, tucked away, with the legs coming in like a frog from a tadpole. It's kind of the way I would envision it. Though you have to wonder how it like scrolled across that table so quick in the original film, right? Yeah, I do think that those are probably green screens over the computer consoles, and then the screens are put in and over post, because there would end up being a lot of reflections. I feel like the way it says Romulus Hangar Bay would be written, it would appear different if actually coming from a CRT, I feel like. Crawl, Rook, crawl. It's when he's talking that it starts to give you the tell that there's some tomfoolery in play. Stationary, they could make this work easily, right? But I mean, I don't really have an issue with it. Now, consider this though. Largely destroyed, similar state Bishop in Alien 3. Lance Henriksen is not in Alien 3. People think he was in there with makeup, but that was a puppet. Why not just do the Ian Holm puppet? Would people have liked that? I mean, this is like your love letter to the film fans over here. I think that would have gone over pretty well. I think it would have even been a nice touch if the mouth didn't keep up with what he's saying as a puppet. So it was more like a speaker is playing the sounds within him. And the function of the mouth making it looking like the android is talking, right? I mean, because he's so busted, it would be okay if the mouth couldn't perform its normal function, right? You guys can't leave Andy to converse with Rook, man. Bad things are going to happen. We've got a couple of shots there, practical face huggers. People still complain about the movie. Now, here we go with more don't breathe, right? So don't breathe, don't make a sound. What are we going to do? Well, these things are also blind, right? Like Colonel Quaritch. So let's heat up the room to our temperature so that they can't spot us on our heat, and try not to make any noise. It's don't breathe in space. You know, I still have people complaining about the way I talk down to the alien anime style short film. I feel like if you have talent, you want to tell your own story. You shouldn't be using somebody else's IP to draw eyes. And that's really what took place there. Without the alien stuff, would you have watched that short? No, you wouldn't have. So it's basically a theft situation. How that guy manages to have that monetized without Disney and their army of lawyers get involved, I don't know. Yeah, that was Alien Monday, right? I suppose if you're making that, you have to try to get that to coincide with the release of an Alien film to further bring in the eyeballs, you know, because now, we have a major film being mentioned in TV spots and the like, and we have all these ads on websites. That'll help draw people to my little film here, and I'll get ad revenue. Try not to freak out, little girl. Don't really know what happened to that guy. Facehugger maybe attached the wrong way. See, now, okay, we know this girl's pregnant. She hasn't done anything abusive to Andy. She's been very friendly with Rain. We're rooting for her. We're going to give her her little side mission. And the fact that she comes out of this makes you think, okay, well, she's in the clear now. Like, you can't just cut to somebody in like a kind of space horror film and then live and then only to kill them later. You can't be doing that. Because right now she is in the Harry Dean Stanton position right now, where it's like, oh, suddenly you have a scene by yourself and you're sort of coming across the chest bursters, shed skin, and yeah, it didn't really work out so well for him. We'll see how you do. I think there was an intentional effort here to make that opening on the cocoon look like something. That got me my trusty cattle prod. Just so happens to put the cocoon right next to a station where I can use this. I wonder if this should have been effective, if this should have killed the thing. A flamethrower, I think, would have done it. That's the tail, man. You want to get out of there. Get out of the way of the acid, bro. It says foreboding music. Oh, there's the dome. I think we had some CGI facehuggers in that shot. Clearly, we've gone CGI with these ones that are more mobile. Did you see the way the hands were over the top of the head right there? It's cool formation for that. Oh, now I have the keys. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Turned around backwards and falls. It's kind of like how girls can't run in the woods away from the killer. They always trip, right? Now we're going to have another scene here where we don't know fully upgraded Andy's intentions. He's shutting that door. And they're not through yet. Nice slide. A little bit of Mirror's Edge slide right there. Nice. Yeah, I calculated when the door would close and he made it. That's, So don't complain. Have I missed it, or have we not given a name to the outpost? Because it's in two halves, but hey guys, we're going to, XY 1058 outpost. It has the Romulus lab and the Remus lab, like something like that. Like there's got to be a name for when you're going to it. You wouldn't say we're going to Romulus. When they were separated earlier there, they looked at the mural, kind of got the explanation for why the place is called Romulus and Remus. You have that symbol of the dog that feeds the children, and that could be a little bit of foreshadowing for what becomes of Kay over here. She survives two of these I'm the lone person walking around, I'm not the main character, you're expecting me to get killed scenarios. I think she had a survivable fall, but she doesn't seem to be in that much pain, really. Seems to have use of her arms and legs. No trouble breathing, really. Just a little cold, maybe. Oh no, we don't need the big alarm. That's going to draw some attention. Oh, Andy's calculating. If he had opened the door, would they have had time to shut it before this thing gets here? Thing is just born. This thing is what? Even pre-cocoon, let's say it's 20 minutes old and it knows it's waiting for the door to open. No, we're going to wait for her to get snatched. There was a fair amount of blood there. I thought it was a killing blow. She's all right. She's moving. What are you saying moving? Oh, you saw, because it looked to me like she got knocked unconscious or died. But this guy, no, she's all right. She's moving. I think we may have ADR'd that in there. A lot of times you'll notice with ADR, it is to confirm the status of a character. Like, he'll live, something like that. Like, oh man, you knocked her out. And so you don't think the hero killed somebody in cold blood. Oh, the train system of sorts, and the interior here, similar to what you see in Alien Isolation. That was not really a research place so much. I mean, also like shopping mall type space station in a way. I could see this thing not really as robust as the design of the tram system in Alien Isolation, which actually had seating. Romulus Lab. What do we got here? There we go. There's the mother wolf feeding the human kids. Very weird. I think it's like one of the official symbols of Rome or something. All right, so we're going to learn a little bit more about what Rook actually knows. See, we were doing it for the workers' good. We were trying to make super resilient super workers, guys. We're the good guys. That's what the bioweapons companies, like, division's about, right? We smashed the rat, but it can come back. That was the plan. So you guys can colonize hazardous planets. We're using the xenomorph to unlock the next step in evolution. What could go wrong? Uh-oh. Here we go for callback. See the pot there, and it's got like the ooze drip. That's what it all comes back to. Now, how they knew that whatever came from this xenomorph was ever in a container that looked like that, which happened to be in Prometheus, I don't know. It is in part this stuff, just a little bit of this, that makes the Prometheus Covenant stuff almost required viewing, because now it's like, this doesn't really fit with the franchise if you excluded those. Like, I would prefer that you didn't have to watch those to make sense of this movie. But seeing as how it's all fitting within the franchise, it's entirely acceptable from a production standpoint to acknowledge it, right? Even if you personally don't like it, the films. Yep, we got another save station there. You got to put your card in, guys. Somewhat familiar looking here. We got the pulse rifles and a little bit new feature too. We got the aim assist. Yeah, hey, that's kind of cool. I mean, it feels like tech that is appropriate for the universe that's established here. Yeah, the creature that was just born knows what pulse rifles are, recognizes you holding them, and thinks maybe I don't want to get hit by that. In actuality, you're going to have to shoot one of them for the rest to be like, hold up now. But they don't even know there's multiple aliens just yet. You can kind of see things didn't really work out too well for that rat. But, you know, Rook doesn't necessarily want them to know that. Rook kind of wants them to go ahead and give the ooze to Kay if they can, or one of them. Hey, this might be, this is some important stuff right here. I'll help you out if you help me. You got to make sure this stuff gets saved. Oh, you know what? You might just be able to inject that to give yourself the energy to get through the situation. Oh yeah, good idea. It's like a protein shake. Or drinking a Red Bull. Now, I mentioned that I think the scorn for this movie may stem from, oh, we got the look of Ian Holm not quite right. Like, oh, it was laughably bad. Like that. First of all, it's not that bad of an effect. But I think that my biggest complaint with the film would be it tries a little too hard with the member berries. We bring in phrases that do not belong here, said by characters who maybe even haven't even said them yet, right? And yeah, it's just kind of messed up to be like, oh wait, hey, don't worry, guys, it's an alien film. We can quote aliens all we want. To eye roll. Almost catacombs here, right? Learning more about the function of the interior decorating of the aliens. So they put the people, they get the people in the walls, right? But sometimes they like to hang on the walls too. Oh, she may have already had a face hugger. Or actually, no, she doesn't have a pair. Okay, so what did he say? She doesn't have. She hasn't been face hugged yet because it hasn't fallen off and died by her feet. Is this commentary on the jab, right? They were about to jabber with an untested RNDA rapidly approved substance and taking the science guy's word for it, right? But Kaylee Spaney over here, she doesn't have the woke mind virus. You know, Rain's going, oh, I don't trust it. Now, I was confused here also by the blue lasers. I was under the impression that the blue laser was something in the space jockey ship, not a function associated with the eggs. Okay? You don't see the eggs covered in blue laser in Aliens out in front of the Queen, right? So why does this have the blue laser mist? I think that they may have just, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we remember the blue laser fog. We got to have that. And because they've done this, now the blue laser fog belongs to an egg hive, right? Rather than that was something of the ship that the space jockey had. Yep, he's a gunner for sure. And conveniently enough, Andy's having a seizure. Oh no, she's too short. So yeah, Alien Romulus ruined the blue laser fog. She's losing a lot of blood, but we can get those cryopods. You ain't injecting yourself on my watch. Though she will end up leaving behind the jab, and then that kind of gives her an idea. Why is Andy having the seizure? Just, you know, that's a good time for that to happen. But you know what? He's like a brother to me. We can't leave him. You'll find a way back. What, were there other ships over here you thought you could get on? I mean, come on. It doesn't really look to me like there's other ways off this boat. Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty hurt. There's the alien stompers. Ripley had in Aliens. I think a respectable movie shoe. Didn't look like it's trying too much. Uh-oh. Did you have to leave the jab with her? If you didn't want her using it, guys, come on. That will be what messes up her baby. It's okay, guys. I've got the aim assist. Got to go back and get Andy. All right, so he's going to become dumb Andy again. But it just seems to me like this was kind of a lazy way for her to get separated from Kay so that Kay could then inject herself and then further mayhem. Maybe if Kay was in the Romulus lab and saw what happened to the rat, she wouldn't have been so keen to do this. But you know, there's a lot of Americans who may have not seen what happened to people who took a vaccine, an experimental vaccine, right? But we were told by Science Man, do it. Andy, you're back. I'm so sorry. Yep. It's you, Andy. No. I've got a pulse rifle. Man, when your gun is about the size of you, right? Just using you to get the compound to safety. But you have my sympathies. Yep. Yeah, we know the line. And I don't have a problem with an android quoting the programming of a previous android, especially when it's like essentially the same model. That is perfectly okay. You understand. Look, Terminator 2. T-1000 gets into the helicopter, says, "Get out." That's what the Terminator said in the first film, got in the truck. Yep, she knows all your jokes. You gotta tell a new one, man. I hope the dad jokes, that gives me an idea. Let's turn off the gravity. Which, I mean, this could in effect work some. Give you a little bit of time to get past the acid blood. Though now you have this stuff floating around that you really need to avoid. Yep, you're taking care of business. Now, I guess they weren't, too used to climbing around with the zero gravity either, so didn't make adjustments. They try to put her through some fairly, I wouldn't say extensive weapons training, but they had her run some obstacles. All right, we gotta not touch this stuff now. It's a little easier to avoid when it's on the ground, and you could maybe like crawl across these bars, but yeah, this could be a little rough. Oh, she flying into it. Using a little bit of Newton's laws right there. Equal opposite reaction stuff. Push her away. All right, we're about to have some more complaints here. Elevator's not going to work with the gravity off. All right, understandable. Not so fast, little lady. With the aim assist and safety's on or whatever, I don't know. With the aim assist, should it have errant fired like that? Uh-oh, the gravity purge. Better hang on to something. Oh no, man. That's quite a fall. Okay, how crazy strong is Andy? All right, your favorite neighborhood xenomorph is here. Always willing to help. Everybody gets one. Oh, this is bad. Well, at least the elevator smashed most of them. And kind of plugged the hole, too. Okay, Andy, you going to calculate this jump fall? This is the end of the trailer, or is it just the teaser trailer shot right here too? Where look, as it was looking at, I kind of thought, is that a queen alien? Because I thought the tendons in the mouth looked more like the queen's in a way, but really they've been like that on the xenomorph for a while. Cringe line. Get away from her, you itch. Like, out of character for the android. Fan service callback line quote from previous movie everybody likes. Could nobody have said, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we're overstepping if we do that. No one wanted to speak up on that. And now we're in the asteroid belt. Yeah, now would be a good time to get out of here. Kay hung on, didn't hand over controls to Rook. You're supposed to be in the cryopod, girl. Why didn't you go to the cryopod like we talked about? Wait, you injected what? You can't do the same thing every movie, so you have to have a different way to destroy the station. And kind of crashing into an asteroid belt, that's a little different. Now, you typically have to have a different creature in each of these movies. Like, there has to be a nuance. No, we're not letting you pilot us. Nope, I don't listen to you. I got rid of that module. She should have said, "But you have my sympathies," like, or something like that. Because he never said, "Have a nice day," right? There's that emergency purge screen that we saw something similar in the original film. Oh yeah, it changed my mind. You're coming with us. Not that there was ever a great reason for you not to have your android with you. It was more of like a they don't allow synthetics over there, so you won't be able to get in. Maybe, but you're coming anyway now. What? See, I would have thought that her being frozen would have prevented all of this from happening. Right? She's in the freezerino. So that will put, if you had an infection, if you had, hey, we can put him in the cryo chamber and wait for whatever, that it would, we don't have proof of it, but you're under the assumption that it would stop the chest burster, or at least put that process on pause, right? So why not this too? And here we go. Now I'm kind of reminded of why there are more complaints for this film. Now we understand what happened because she took the jab and it screwed up her baby. Where are you taking this thing? You better act quick. All right, so we actually have a flamethrower, but... Oh no, it's a cute baby. But it's also a little engineer-y looking, isn't it? No. Yeah, now their ship sinks a little. I don't know. I'm not really sure what her plans are right here. Like, is it a pressing matter that some pod baby is in the container? I don't know. The cargo hold. I guess it could get out of there. I mean, because it fell through on the hole, but then it also had quite the fall, but it must have been dampened by, you know, this amazing EVA foam in that pod, huh? And this thing grew way too quick. Consumed nothing at all, full stop, and becomes, what, 7'8", Robert Bob Kreisky. Poor guy, he's freakish looking. Very long neck. Kind of befitting to cast him for a weird creature in a film. But I don't think anyone likes the look of this thing. I mean, to say conflicting reports, I don't think a lot of people are like the K's giant baby, whatever we're calling it. All right, now we can see that she's got some goo. She's lactating some ooze. And that is about the extent of our understanding of how she gets killed. So now her baby's a giant creature. And it doesn't have any qualms with jacking up an android. A lot of times the androids kind of get ignored, you know, until they're in the way, but... Yeah, that thing grew excessively fast. Now, I'm under the impression that she kind of got nursed to death. I mean, we set up there's a goo, and then she, almost in a vampire type way, has like her essence sucked out, right? Like all of her liquids. Oh, yeah, we got to have an extra mouth. So, him being kind of engineer looking also makes, you know, you end up with required viewing regardless. So it does turn Prometheus into required viewing in order to watch this, which kind of makes me not want to recommend it to my folks. Because, hey, here's one that a lot of people think's good, but you have to watch something really bad first. And here we go, Sucked Dry. It could have been scarier to have seen more of that. Very alien engineer all at the same time. See, I think there are ways that a new creature could have been introduced that looked better, but there is almost an imperative order to have a new creature in each of the Alien films. The Queen's new in Aliens. We get a different dynamic in Alien 3 with the like dog/ox behavior. Alien Resurrection gives us the newborn. Alien versus Predator didn't need to have a new creature, but it does end with the Predalien, which then essentially is the new creature in action for AVP Requiem. And so every time you have to have something new. And so feeling like they needed to have something new, this is what they came up with. It is just kind of mishandled. It's grew too fast. It's kind of a vague issue altogether, but evidently if you're pregnant and you take the jab, messes with your kid. It's otherwise, if she didn't, maybe if you don't have the kid to pass on the negative side effects, Kay could have been pretty good here, right? But also, now okay, so if the lab rat got sucked dry like this, would it have bounced back? I mean, it kind of comes back from being squashed to death, right? If we wait long enough, does Kay get up and start walking around and go, hey, what happened? There are people complaining about the end. It's weird the complaints people have on YouTube when your channel's built on you have to complain about stuff. So you have to find a reason to complain, is what it is. So we got to blow the thing out the airlock in some capacity, but we're going to have a little bit of a spin on it. There's going to be an asteroid belt. Oh, but everybody wants to complain about the parting CGI shot. Well, there's a really awful CGI shot of the baby alien, engineer kid, grown-ass man, but I guess we'll have another look at it and judge if it's that awful, if it's such a sin to the film. Okay, so what is its plan with her? That's not mommy. And if you haven't seen what poor Robert looks like, yeah, his neck does look like that. Your baby pod. Remember that from the good old days of your childhood 3 minutes ago? It's full of blood. See, and here is a good example of why you can't watch trailers, because you're going to see stuff here in the trailer or the TV spot. TV spot ends showing the outpost drifting into the asteroid belt and falling apart. Oh, we got this terrible CGI creature at the end. Help me out, Andy. I don't know how many cracks a space helmet can take, but I'm thinking it doesn't need any more. It's weird that the asteroid belt's almost treated like a solid surface. Like, I don't think one can stand on it. I think it's a good visual, though. I didn't have any big issue there with the terrible CGI creature at the end, the last shot right before it died. And yeah, you want to close those doors any sooner, guys? Come on. All right, now for our ceremonial end of an alien film wind down. Everybody go to sleep. Does Andy need a cryotube? I mean, okay, so he got slashed in the neck, and that took him completely out of commission. But could you not, I mean, is the freezing going to do any difference there? Not a living being, so probably could just left him on the floor. And we end it very similar to Alien. You know, last survivor, the signing off, right? And that does it for Alien Romulus. Where do we go after this? Huh? Gosh, I sure hope that we don't find the Queen from Aliens floating in a giant meteorite cocoon. But hey, Alien Earth has to start somehow, right? Till next time, adios.